Hey guys, today is going to be slightly different here. We are going to be talking about the Victor NCS, new Carbosonic shuttles. We have the new Carbosonic Standard, NCS Pro, NCS Max, and also we're going to compare it with the physical actual shuttle here. We're on a multicam, so obviously we see multiple cameras, and I'm going to take you through what we see right here. First things first, what is the new Carbosonic shuttle? It is a synthetic type of shuttle that is kind of coexisting together with natural feather shuttles. Obviously, you have seen a lot of the Victor marketing here. It is the new type of synthetic shuttle. I personally think it's great for the consumers. I think it's amazing. It gives the consumer a better option to be able to actually choose to their liking and also their budget as well. So, because obviously in Europe especially, we are having a lot of issues with shuttle supply, and so this is actually a good option. However, we have three models here, so it might be a bit confusing as we go along. Okay, so let's first look at what are they. So the new Carbosonic shuttles are essentially foam. So these are polystyrene foam, feathers on that end, and then obviously paired in with carbon fiber stems, which replaces the traditional feather stem from the goose or the duck. And then so, yep, the feather elements are replaced by the polystyrene elements, whereas the stems are replaced with carbon fiber reinforced materials. The threads are still exactly the same, the glue is exactly the same, and then also the cork is exactly the same. In terms of sizes, let me also quickly take a measurement here. We're looking at just under 83 millimeters. And then if we take the feather shuttle, 87. And so actually if you stand them side by side, yep, they're ever so slightly taller, but the synthetic shuttles, all the NCS shuttles, are looking at about 83 millimeters in height. Yep, and so this is same for NCS Pro, and the Max has the red sticker, maybe just a touch taller for the NCS Max. Okay, so let me quickly show you the tubes as well. In terms of tubes, this is what it looks like. This is the new Carbosonic tube, NCS. This is the normal version, new Carbosonic Pro, and then ultimately we have the Max. We have Victor's top of the line Victor Master Ace. You can also see the tubes are also slightly taller. Obviously, now that we know the shuttles are slightly taller in terms of the normal shuttles, 87 millimeters to 83 or 84 millimeters in height. Yeah, obviously you need a little bit more to accommodate the full dozen of shuttles in there. In terms of testing, unfortunately, I couldn't get a NCS Pro in 78 speed. So we have the Master Ace in 78. We're currently winter here in the UK. Master Ace in 78, NCS Max in 78, and the normal NCS in 78. But the Pro is speed 77, so we will have some caveats later on as we go along. Now that we've looked at the shuttle height, we now also quickly look at if the weights are the same. So for feather shuttles, they're supposed to be around 5 grams per shuttle. Obviously, there'll be slight differences depending on the speed of the shuttle. So let's have a look. This is the NCS, this is the NCS Pro, this is the NCS Max, and this is the Master Ace. So first off, we will weigh the NCS, 5 grams, not bad, speed 78. So this is NCS Pro, 5.0 as well, NCS Max, 5.0, and then ultimately our top of the line feather shuttle from Victor. Coincidentally, we also have a standard synthetic plastic mounted shuttle here. Let's also measure the weight. So the weight is slightly over 5.3 grams, which is still fine, perfectly legal in terms of shuttlecock weight, but obviously slightly different. Hence they handle and fly slightly differently compared to a normal natural shuttle. Weight is just one of the components that affect the flight of the shuttle. In terms of looks for the synthetic shuttle, you have the NCS, NCS Pro, and NCS Max compared to standard shuttle. However, if we're comparing in between the NCSs here, we start by looking at the NCS normal, and you can see that there is a slit on the NCS, and this is a polystyrene feel material. You can see there is a slit on the NCS shuttle, whereas if you look at the Pro and also the Maxes, they have extra dots. Like there's 3 extra holes per feather next to the slit, 2 above and 1 below. The feather, this polystyrene area, looks like a blade from like a MMORPG game, which looks pretty cool. But yeah, they are cut and specifically inserted so they look like a normal feather shuttle. So In terms of looks, this is how it looks like for the NCS Normal to the NCS Pro. For some reason, the tape, the color of the tape is slightly different. One is more green and one is fairly dark, almost black even. So when you move on to the Pro, to the Max, I also noticed that the feather, the synthetic foam area, the shuttle, the feather, on the Max is slightly more glossy on the inside. So I think it has a slightly different coating on the inside of the feather. Outside looks fairly the same, but on the inside, it looks like it's more glossy. It is glossier. So let me quickly make sure it's focused on there on the camera. Yeah, so this is more glossy from the inside of the Max, whereas the Pro isn't as glossy. And obviously compared to a standard feather shuttle, standard feather shuttle, you see all the membranes in there. In terms of stiffness, obviously the standard shuttle has the benchmark. So obviously discussing with a lot of shuttle experts, actual shuttle experts, they tell me that for a shuttle to be durable, you want it to be pliable, but also to have good feel, you want it to be crisp. So it is a really fine balance, and hence how they found an amazing balance with the pliability and also the stiffness requirement to have an awesome shuttle, which is durable but also crispy feeling. The NCS, obviously the basic model, is the softest of the bunch. They are not soft compared to any other shuttle on the market, but they are soft compared to the Max and the Pro. The NCS here, so I'm just squeezing a little bit, it's slightly stiffer, the Pro is slightly stiffer, and then the Max is even again stiffer compared to the Pro. Not much if you're just squeezing by feel, but you can feel it. In just pure squeeze tests, I would actually say that the NCS Max, especially if you're squeezing on the second row here, it feels very close to an actual shuttle. Okay, we have our paper. Let's start drawing a few things. Badminton court. This is the net. Okay. And in my opinion, there's only two differences that you can feel it quite majorly comparing a synthetic shuttle and a normal shuttle. Let me draw it. And so, for example, if we're hitting a shuttle, like say, across the net, and the flight of the shuttle, let's extend the court a little bit more. And so a flight of a shuttle should look something like this. And this is what a normal natural shuttle should look like. Well, maybe not this round, but so it should look something like this, where the curve and the arc is quite natural. Where synthetic shuttle differ, in my opinion, comes in only two areas generally. It's this area and this area here. We'll talk about this area, in the initial one, in a bit, but let's talk about this one first. And so from my experience, synthetic shuttles or plastic shuttles or nylon shuttles or whatever, the non-natural shuttles, they tend to go quite abrupt. And so the angle of turn, they lose a lot of energy for some reason, because of the aerodynamics or because of the weight or because of how the weight of the balance of the shuttle is actually planned or placed. They don't have this curve, and it dies very, very soon. And so hence a lot of people feel that, oh my God, plastic shuttles or nylon shuttles or synthetic shuttles feels quite heavy, but actually, as you've seen, the weight looks identical across all four shuttles earlier on. And we still feel something like this here with synthetic shuttles. But this drop and this loss of energy is the main thing. And so here, the distance between here and then also the feel here. Yep, so this is the first problem here, number one. Problem number two is normally when you hit a plastic shuttle or a synthetic shuttle or a nylon shuttle, it feels that it leaves your racket incredibly fast. And then within this flight phase, it loses so much more energy. Whereas for a normal shuttle, it is more balanced, it is more neutral, and you can, I guess, reliably predict the transition between hitting and then also where the shuttle will land, this natural arc. Whereas the synthetic shuttles, the red line, feels a lot more abrupt and a lot more steep. And so where the new carbon sonic shuttles, the NCS shuttles, comes in here is each iteration, the NCS, NCS Pro, and NCS Max, bridges the gap between the natural and the synthetic shuttle behavior closer and closer to the natural feather shuttle. Is it identical to a natural feather? No, it's not, but it's close, and it's anything comparing the plastic shuttles or nylon shuttles. This synthetic shuttle, the NCSs, are the closest one compared to a regular shuttle. So let me show you how. In my opinion, bearing in mind first problem and the second problem that we face with synthetic shuttles and plastic shuttles compared to a natural feather shuttles, the gap for the max is the closest one compared to the normal natural feather shuttle. Whereas the NCS, the original normal version, the standard version, which is, these without the holes in the foam feather, they feel slightly more different, but these are still the closest one to a natural flying shuttle compared to any of the previous synthetic shuttles that I've played with. Just to also extend a little bit and explain a little bit more about problem 2, when I mentioned that when you hit the shuttle in the area, as soon as you hit it, you feel that the speed where the synthetic shuttles leave your racket incredibly fast. There's also another problem in there as well, the ability of the shuttle to turn. And so when we hit a shuttle, you would expect the shuttle to turn, once the hit is gone, to turn properly and quite quickly, and it goes along its way. With synthetic shuttles, oftentimes you might actually see that it doesn't turn immediately, but there's a slight delay in that. And so hence that feel that it is slightly different compared to a natural feather shuttle. And I think this is where the magic happens. Whichever manufacturer can actually resolve this problem first and make it very, very lifelike, natural-like, then essentially they would have found the magic formula. But as we can see, this is incredibly difficult to explain and also to be able to manufacture. To be able to make them turn immediately and turn naturally when you play with the synthetic feather shuttle, that would be the magic sauce. So for the NCS shuttles, for problem number 1, the max is the best one out of all of them. Whereas the standard model, you can still see, you feel that this curve is quite steep, it's quite straightforward, but the Pro is kind of like in between both of them. The max, yes, I agree, it's the best out of them, but still the natural one, the natural feather, has that beautiful round curve where it drops where you want it to go. For problem number 2, this is a bit harder. For problem number 2, I personally found that the Pro has the worst problem in issue number 2 when I was playing. And so the Pro wasn't as bad, the normal wasn't as bad, the Pro was the worst one, and the max is also pretty good in this sense. Pretty good as in it feels a bit closer to the natural feather, but still there is that delay in and that lag in the shuttle turning. And so hence, for example, if you're trying to play a little bit more skillful shots, if nothing's under pressure, it would be absolutely perfect. You can play that anytime and you can repeat it, no problem. But in a match situation, you will feel that the shuttle will behave slightly differently compared to a normal feather shuttle. Normal feather shuttles are just easier to execute those shots, whereas these synthetic shuttles need a little bit more guidance, a little bit more pronounced strokes. And so hence, you will feel this slightly differently. The max is the best, of course, but I'm assuming the max would also be the most expensive one out of the 3. It's close to the natural feather shuttle, but if you play at a good level, you will still feel the difference here. But out of the nylon shuttles and plastic shuttles that I've played with, I'll repeat, this is the closest synthetic shuttle that I've played with so far. And so hence, we get on to the most important question that most people talk about, durability. Okay, so in terms of durability, I think these are marketed as the savior of badminton. And I think this is probably not correct in terms of expectations. I think they are marketed as if that these things will never break. I did a smash test as an example. The goal was 20 smashes per shuttle and across all 4 models. So the NCS, NCS Pro, NCS Max, and then the natural shuttle. And I'll show you the results right now.
NCS Max, speed 78, so same speed as the Master Ace. Let's do 20 smashes, let's go.
Oh, it's gone already!
Want to protect your rackets from chips, scratches, and even potential cracks? Have peace of mind with the premium racket protection tape from ckydw.com/shop. They're almost invisible and gives your racket the extra layer of protection in case of scrapes and, or worse, a clash. So go check them out, and we also have some limited edition signed prints there too. Remember what I said earlier on when the stems are actually quite stiff? Well, you want the stem to be stiff so you feel and have a great crisp hitting feel. But at the same time, shuttle experts have identified that you want the stem to also be pliable enough so they last a long time in terms of durability. If you actually really think about it, if the cheapest shuttles that you've ever bought, and if you ever hit them, the ones that's super soft, they never break. They just keep going. The cork will actually die first before the stems and the feather. And so this is actually quite a unique problem for high-end shuttles. This one is the VictorMaster Ace after 20 full-on smashes. For me, of course. So I am no professional, but I just went for it. Absolutely hell to leather. After 20 smashes, this is amazing. Like, it's still absolutely playable. We can absolutely play a full game of singles. Absolutely no problem with this. There's almost, yeah, I would say this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect.
20. Still looks very good. We can fluff it back up. It's actually okay.
And so the next shuttle that I went to, obviously you can see I've labeled it on the court, number 1, and then number 2, and 2.5, 3, 4, and 5 here. As you can see, number 2 was the Max. And so you can actually see it is quite battered. Granted, smash testing is not the right way to test shuttle durability because you don't only do smashes, you don't only do full-out smashes in matches, but it's just, I thought, you know, it's a consistent test that we can actually execute 20 per shuttle. Let's see what happens. And there's a reason why there's a 2.5 here. So the Max is the stiffest one by far in the stem. This 2.5 number here was the first shuttle that I smashed with. And on the first shot, as you can see recorded here,
Oh, it's gone already!
First smash, completely collapsed. I killed it. Missed timing, but it's okay because it's now square. It's not going to fly. Let's grab another one. Let's go.
I absolutely crushed the stem already. So it broke and it was square. So I broke the shuttle straight away on the first smash. Mistimed. I mistimed the smash, but it does happen in game situations. So they do break. So in terms of durability, whilst they're marketed as the savior of badminton, I think you need to all manage expectations. These are incredible in terms of durability, but if you mishit it, they will still come off and they will still break. So once the stems or the feathers from the foam break off, yeah, they're essentially gone. So even some of them that they will bend, they will start bending once you've hit them enough. In normal games, which is what we did later on, I will show you, and they are absolutely perfect. So for number 3, I went from the Max onto the normal NCS, so the first generation NCS. And yeah, so first generation NCS, earlier in the video, I mentioned that the stems are the softest ones, and they survived 20 smashes fine. Yes, of course, I think it's a bit crushed now in terms of the glue in the stem, but it survived 20 smashes. Was it great? Not absolutely amazing, not perfect, but it survived 20 smashes. And because it's slightly softer, you can actually see that all the foam feathers actually survived as well. So yeah, and then we went on to the Pro, which is number 4. The Pro was a speed 77 shuttle, and hence it is a slower shuttle, not the right speed for our playing conditions in winter. And again, yeah, they didn't survive very well. The Pro, I actually also crushed one. Number 4 and number 5s are both the Pro. And so yeah, number 4, number 5 didn't also go very well. But again, like I mentioned earlier on, durability testing, nobody does 20 full-on smashes with any shuttle in any sort of games whatsoever. If that's the type of game you play, probably synthetic shuttles are not your game. But again, I think I was really impressed with how well the natural shuttle coped and did, because yeah, it looks like absolutely brand new. You can just keep going, and this is the amazing suppleness of the feather, but then also having a strong enough stem, and also yeah, just to be able to keep going. This is absolutely amazing. I was really impressed with the natural shuttle. But in terms of durability comparison, this is slightly a consistent test, but not a fair shuttle durability test. But let me show you what it was like in actual game situations. Okay, so these are the actual game shuttles that I've played with. So this is the Master Ace set to one side. This is the Max set to one side, and this is the NCS, and then this is the Master Ace. And so we'll start with the NCS. You can look and see that this NCS, so this one, I gave it to a friend, and they played with this for 2 hours. Single shuttle, 2 hours across many games. The cork is, I think the cork is done. Like, the cork is absolutely battered. You can actually tell like it's coming off on the cork. But in terms of the shuttle, it looks perfectly fine. It looks completely fine. So this one I was quite impressed with. They noted the changes in the shuttle, in the speed, especially when it leaves the racket, but then also the drop from the point, like the curve and the arc. They noted that. But in terms of durability, yeah, this was absolutely perfect for them. It went 2 hours without actually replacing a shuttle. In terms of level, they're also slightly in the intermediate side of things. So yeah, so I think this shuttle is amazing for that type of game, and yeah, it lasted absolutely perfect. So this is the NCS Max shuttle. This one I've played with a full game of doubles here, and you can actually feel, yeah, it looks like it's brand new. It doesn't look like it's been used much at all. And in comparison, this is Master Ace shuttles, which has gone through 2 games of doubles. And so actually these 3 shuttles have gone through 3 games of doubles. So it's 3 sets of doubles here. And this one was in the middle set. And so we started with a Master Ace before going into the NCS Max, before coming back out onto the 3rd set with the Master Ace. This is the one where we finished the full match with. It is completely still fine. This one had 1 break in the middle, 1 break on the feather, but this one lasted a full game as well, and we just had to change that. Feather shuttle flies absolutely beautifully. You can do a lot of the skill shots. The feel of the shuttle, it's just natural. It bounces off your strings, it just goes. Whereas everybody noted with the NCS Max, they had to be a bit more pronounced and be a bit more conscious with the shots that they're playing with, because the shuttle feels slightly differently whilst they are the same weight shuttle. But in terms of durability for match play, if you don't break the stem, if you don't break the feather, absolutely fine, absolutely no problem. So all in all, I think these Victor NCS shuttles, NCS Normal, NCS Pro, NCS Max, I'm really impressed with the shuttles, the synthetic shuttles. These are the best ones that I've played with in terms of synthetic, non-natural feather material shuttles. I cannot wait to see what other brands are actually producing, but in terms of durability for normal play, yep, as long as you don't break the stems or the feathers, you'll be absolutely fine, and they can just keep going until the cork leather just wears off. Personally, obviously, I still absolutely love the natural feather because, yeah, it just feels absolutely amazing. If you can afford it, always go for the best shuttles you can, because going for the cheap natural feather shuttles are a type of false economy. But yep, depending on the pricing, depending on your region, these synthetic shuttles are perfect for a certain level of game. But obviously, if you want a more natural game, go for the natural shuttle. But at the same time, these NCS shuttles are here to stay, and I'm actually happy for the consumer. As a consumer, we have more options nowadays. So go ahead and try them, and let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.